Hello. So today I'm doing something that I've wanted to do on my blog for a while now, but I just never really got round to, and that's talking about my top 10 favourite video games of all time. I should say up front that I'm quite a casual gamer, so this isn't what I think are the best video games of all time, because there's probably loads of great video games out there that I haven't actually played. These are just the games that I've replayed the most and that I've had the most fun with on a personal level. Also, there are some cases where if I enjoyed more than one game in a series on a reasonably equal level, I have kind of combined them into the same slot in this top 10, so there you go. Number 10 is Pokemon Gold for the Game Boy Color. Basically, I was a child in the 90s, and which children back then didn't love Pokemon? The ones I had were Pokemon Red, Pokemon Yellow, and Pokemon Gold, and all three games were extremely addictive, just looking for all these different Pokemon, but Gold was my favourite, because the thing about video games is that unlike movies, the sequels will often tend to be better than the originals because they're able to see what works and what doesn't and fix those things, and also add a bunch of new stuff in. And that's what Pokemon Gold does. It gives you this whole new land and lots of new Pokemon to play around in. And then when you've completed that bit, then you actually get to go back to the old land that you played in the first game. So yeah, it was brilliant. Number 9 is God of War and God of War 2. So these games are just great all-rounders, really. They're based around Greek mythology, so they have you fighting Minotaurs and Cyclops and Centaurs and Hydra, which is really cool if you like that sort of thing. The combat system is really good, the action is really great, easy to handle. The environments are just really beautifully rendered, and often quite massive, epic, with these towering structures. And the protagonist, Kratos, picks up some really cool abilities along the way, like being able to turn enemies into stone with Medusa's head, or using Icarus wings to glide. These are just epic games, really. Number 8 is Jurassic Park Operation Genesis for the PC. I remember when this came out in 2003, I was really excited for it. I was waiting for quite a long time for it. I mean, I played quite a lot of Jurassic Park games in the past, but this one actually let you create Jurassic Park. You had to extract DNA from fossils and then think about security systems and tourist attractions like the Jeep and also a hot air balloon. And obviously running the parks was a lot of the fun, but I also really enjoyed just like once the dinosaurs were out, I just enjoyed watching them just wander around like eating and drinking and doing their thing. That was a really great game for a dinosaur fan. Number 7, the Pro Evolution Soccer games. When it comes to football games, it's you can have a choice between FIFA and Pro Evolution Soccer for the most part, and FIFA tends to have more licensed teams, but I prefer Pro Evolution Soccer because I think the controls are a lot better in those games. And I spent a lot of time on the different features of these games, the Master League feature where you build your own team, and also the in the later games the Become a Legend where you create your own football player and let them transfer through different teams and see how many goals they can score and what trophies they can win. And I also just really enjoy like entering the international cups with different countries' teams and seeing how far I could get, particularly with the more obscure teams like Hungary and Northern Ireland, and trying those out. That was good fun. Number 6 is Yu-Gi-Oh! World Championship 2008 for the Nintendo DS. I was a pretty big fan of the Yu-Gi-Oh! TV series, so I really wanted to find a video game that really felt like playing the card game as it did in the show, and this game certainly does that. You got a great variety of cards you can build your own strategic deck with, and some of the duels involved are just so difficult you feel a real sense of achievement when you've actually accomplished them. If you're familiar with the show, it is pretty satisfying to summon a blue eyes white dragon for yourself and send it to attack your enemy, unless of course they have a trap card that can instantly destroy it, or even worse, a Switch Monsters card. I really hated those things. Number 5 is Kerbal Space Program for the PC. I've only been playing this one for a few months now, but I definitely had to include it on this list because I've just spent so much time on it. I just really love it so much. I mean, just this game where you can build your own spacecraft and then launch them in this universe that uses something very close to real-world physics, and you're actually learning things about the mechanics of spaceflight as you play as well. And there's just this long list of things that you can do, from first getting spacecraft into space in the first place to putting them into orbit, and then sending them off to land on the moon, and then go to other planets and build space stations. Just today I managed to land on Duna for the first time, the Kerbal equivalent of Mars, but there's still plenty to do in the meantime, so I think I'm going to be playing this game for quite a while yet. Number 4 is the Mass Effect trilogy. This is a sci-fi series of games where you go about completing various missions through the galaxy. The action and the combat are pretty good, but really to me those are secondary to the story and the characters. you're able to create your own protagonist, Commander Shepard, who can be whatever gender and appearance you like, and then you're placed in different situations where you have to decide what decisions Shepard will make and the ramifications that has on the story later on. And the characters in this game are really great as well. You can decide what friendships and romances you'll have. In between missions, I'd always be going back and forth between the different characters to see what they had to say and what they wanted to talk about. And I just don't think I've ever been quite as invested in the story of a game as I have with Mass Effect. It's just perhaps the ultimate example of video games as a storytelling medium. Number 3 is Batman Arkham Asylum and Batman Arkham City for the PS3. These are just fantastic superhero games because when you're playing them, you really do feel like you are Batman. I mean, the combat system is fantastic and you get to use all the various Batman gadgets. There's a brilliant voice acting as well, like Kevin Conroy as Batman and Mark Hamill as the Joker from the animated series. I mean, Arkham Asylum on its own is very good with creates this creepy atmosphere for the asylum and also has various references to the Batman villains that you don't see kind of hidden around the buildings. And then Arkham City, again, what I was saying before about video game sequels, it really expands on what the original created, giving Batman this whole section of a city to play around in, and even more gadgets to use and new villains, and a really excellent story as well. Just brilliant. Number 2 is Rome Total War for the PC. I've played both Rome Total War and Medieval 2 Total War, but whether it's because I've been playing it for longer or whether I'm just more comfortable with it, then Rome Total War is my favourite. I mean, there's two sides to the game, really. There's the overall map where you have to decide what other nations you're going to make a move against and when you're going to send your armies, and the challenge of that is really good. But the best part for me is the actual battles, where you have to decide on your formations and what different units like cavalry and infantry you need to send against the different sides of your enemy's army. If you're besieging a city, you have to use your siege equipment like battering rams and towers. And just the idea of bringing all those things to life on the computer is just really, really brilliant, and I've always really enjoyed it. But my number 1 favourite game of all time, without a doubt, is Grand Theft Auto San Andreas for the PlayStation 2. I mean, this is another one like Jurassic Park Operation Genesis that I've been watching the build-up towards at the time and I was really excited for. I mean, I've liked most of the Grand Theft Auto series, like Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto Vice City, definitely Grand Theft Auto 5. I'm not really that fond of Grand Theft Auto 4, to be honest. Hey Nico, you want to go bowling? Yeah, you know. But it was definitely Grand Theft Auto San Andreas that made the biggest impression on me at the time. I was kind of in awe of just how much freedom there was in this sandbox world. I mean, there's 3 different cities based on Los Angeles, San Francisco and Las Vegas, and you've got all the countryside and desert in between to drive around and do missions in. And the missions themselves are really awesome. You get things like this big casino heist, a lot of car chases. There was even one like in Terminator 2 where all these bad guys are chasing you through an aqueduct and you're trying to shoot at them. I really loved all the different vehicles, especially the planes. You're able to do some real flying in this game. You can even fly a jetpack at one point. And again, I really love the story that the protagonist Carl Johnson has to go through in this game. Also, did I mention that Samuel L. Jackson is a voice actor in it? You can see it from the screenshot. The graphics are quite dated now, but especially compared to the likes of Grand Theft Auto 5. And I do really love Grand Theft Auto 5, but ultimately I don't think any video game would ever leave as big an impression on me as Grand Theft Auto San Andreas did, so that's why it's my favourite. So there you are, those are my top 10 favourite video games of all time. And if you have any thoughts on these games, please let me know in the comments, and also let me know what your favourite video games are. So thank you for watching.